Okay, everybody, thank you so much for coming to our Team 360 call. Today is Monday, December 5th. I can hardly believe we're in December. It's almost 2017. And I am really excited to end the year strong. We have a really strong team and we've got a lot of momentum going on right now. And it's just exciting. And the holidays are an exciting time of year to be a coach, especially with some of the changes that they're going to be making in 2017. If you were on the National Wake Up Call this morning, they had hinted at them. I don't know what they are, so don't ask me. I just know I've heard from the CAB, which is the Coach Advisory Board, who knows, that Carl's got some pretty cool stuff up his sleeve. So I cannot wait to hear what they are when they announce them. And all the more reason to be a coach. Plus, we have the Beachbody Health Bet going on in January. And I hope you guys, if you haven't had a chance, take a look at this, the post that I did yesterday on Sunday. I did 4 different posts, but the ones that you want to pay attention to are the ones that have how to set yourself up for the for December and how to share about on your Facebook, how to talk about the Beachbody Health Bet. It gives you a lot of really good ideas. Those were actually done by Jatana Jackson. If you guys don't know who she is, she's an elite coach. She runs Killer Challenge groups and hits Success Club every month as well. And she's figured out a really easy system to do it, so you can follow that system. She's prepared all those slides and was willing to share them with us. The other thing I want to let you know is Coach Basics started today, and Amanda actually put it together for us and said, hey, I know it's the end of the year, but let's run a Coach Basics, because that's what we love to do. And she thought it would be more fun to run it together, and she's right. It is so much more fun. So a bunch of us leaders paired together to run a killer group for everybody. So plug your coaches in there, and if you need a reboot or a restart or whatever, plug in, get in there, but get your new people in there. And you can also, it's just a really good way to build community and help your new coaches hit Emerald and Success Club. And I'm pretty excited about it. And I want to thank Amanda for putting it together because it was a lot of work. And we've got a lot of people in there. So if you've got new coaches starting off, make sure you get them added in there, let them know. And then once they're in there, make sure that you're following up with them and you're following their posts within the group, because you're their sponsor and you're the one that invited them and they want to see you. All right. So it is my pleasure to introduce Amanda Noddings. Amanda was actually a free lead to me almost 3 years ago. And as you guys know, we've talked about before, she ignored me for several months, but she had insanity and she was doing it. And then guess what? She had some questions and finally decided to give me a chance. So all of you who talk to your free leads and they don't answer you, persistence is the key. I follow up until they, basically tell me not to. I email them and I text them. And sometimes if I have time, I call them. But just be consistent with them. You never know where they might get stuck on something and need your help. And it was pretty awesome because immediately I was like, this girl's great. She's got a great story. She's working hard. She's doing insanity. She's got 2 little kids. She was still nursing her youngest. And she was getting really good results. But here's the deal. She started coaching while she was on her journey. She wasn't at her goal when she started coaching. She was on her journey. And in this journey, she just hit 100 pounds lost. And that's pretty incredible. Her 3-year anniversary is in March. Girl has hit Success Club 10 or higher since month 1 of coaching. Never has missed Success Club 10. So she's a Success Club 10 All-Star and Legend, which means she's a rock star. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Amanda. And when she's not being an awesome Beachbody coach, she is working at the VA hospital as a CNA at night. She works the night shift. You start work at 12:30, is that right?
12 now.
12. So she goes at midnight and then comes home and she's a mama to her beautiful little girl, Olivia, and her beast mode, adorable baby, Elijah. So if you've ever seen his photos, it's pretty hilarious. But I'm excited to hear what she has to say tonight and share. And if you saw the photos that I posted up of her journey in Team 360, it's pretty incredible where she started from. So go ahead, Amanda.
Okay. Feel free to jump in and poke at me if I'm going the wrong direction, because I don't really know. It's like, what do you say that you haven't said or whatever? But I guess just say it like you haven't heard it. And then, I think that our takeaways from our journey is different every time we talk about it, just kind of like how my why hasn't changed, but it has every time, because it's always been about my kids and the life I want to give them and the life I want to live with my family. But it looks different as time goes on. And I think that it's the same thing with my journey. Like every time I tell the story, maybe I focus on a different part of it or a different point of it. Can
you come here, please?
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Tanya will get it, right? There's another one that's not unmuted too. There you go. See, if that was me, it would have been yelling. Get over here. Anyway, so for me, when I started, like she said, I didn't have a fitness program. I had I didn't own one. I had Insanity that I had borrowed from a gal at work. And I'd actually borrowed it before I found out I was pregnant with Elijah. And I was hell-bent to like get my life back after kind of going into this big, deep depression. We had lost a baby, and I had kind of struggled with depression a long time. In fact, like recently I was going through papers and I found some really heartbreaking journal entries, if you will, from when I was a kid that are really dark and really sad. Really sad. And I remember writing them now. And it's funny to think that I was writing then and that I was feeling that way then. I haven't shared them yet publicly because it's hard for me. I have a lot of sensitivity towards my family and my parents and how certain things will make them feel. So until I find the right way to do that without making it seem like I had a terrible childhood and that my parents are horrible people, then I have to kind of hold off on that. But I feel like it was interesting to come across those because it shows me that maybe I had struggles a lot longer than, it just didn't tie to my weight directly. And it's funny is that this whole journey has helped me in all those areas. I would never say the number one benefit is the body or the pounds lost. So now I'm weight training again. So I certainly don't probably qualify for the 100 pounds lost, but I did make it there after recently doing the Ultimate Reset. And it has been quite a journey, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, my marriage and everything. And it started all with losing my child. So I feel that the perspective I gained from going through something terrible, I feel like sometimes we have to be broken to be put back together again, if that makes sense, and to maybe be built stronger and to find it's like maybe one of my veterans that has a leg amputated but can do crazy things with his arm strength because he uses a wheelchair. They've become superhuman arms because he doesn't have the use of his legs, so he learns to do things with his arms that he couldn't do. And I feel like that's kind of the same thing on our journey. You lost some part of yourself, or you have some part of yourself that's damaged in some way, but sharing that causes you to heal and maybe find new strengths and new areas that you didn't know you had before. So just to get to the dirt of the story, I guess I decided that I was going to, my whole life was in chaos. My husband was drinking all the time. I was depressed. I was drinking a lot. I would come home from work. We would sit on the porch and smoke and drink and talk about our day for 10 minutes after midnight when I finally got home. Well, first I'd go in and nurse the baby before I had to do any of my bad stuff. And then I would get the baby to bed, and then it would just be like, who are you? Who am I married to? What is sitting there next to me? Our lives was just like, it was terrible. I mean, we just weren't happy. at all. And we just had so much pain from losing his father and then our baby. And I felt like I was the glue holding everything together. And if I broke completely, everyone else would break. And I also had my daughter, who was 3 at the time, who was 100% dependent on me. And I was very conscientious of that because I had such big goals as a mother to be a certain kind of mother. I wanted to do things. I wanted to be more present. My parents were wonderful parents, are wonderful parents. I'm very lucky, but they were absent a lot because they worked so much to try and provide for us in a house of 6 kids. And that affects me still to this day on how much I want to be present and provide more without being there less. So I just was taking a look around. I was just living in this permanent state of pity, I think, and depression. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know what I just did to the screen. You guys all went away. Uh-oh. But I thought that I might be able to not fix anything that was happening to me or coming at me, but I might be able to fix myself in some way. And so I tried to look at what I could possibly fix that I had control over. And I couldn't fix that I had lost a child, and I couldn't fix his actions if he wasn't dealing with it well. And I couldn't fix, but I took, what happened was Olivia came up to me one day. We were sitting around in the living room. You know, she's home from preschool, and she comes up to me and she just put her 2 little hands on my face, and she just looked right at me and she just said, "Are you happy, Mommy?" And I just looked at her and I just burst into tears. I just started crying because I just was like, oh my God, I'm not happy at all. And I knew that in that moment that if she saw that, if she even asked me that she had to know that I wasn't, or she would have never said that because she was too young to really have a concept of like, is something wrong with my mom or not, you know? But she must have known because otherwise she wouldn't have asked me that. So that was like the gut check, rock bottom, like slap in the face moment for me where I was like, this is not what I want to be. This is not okay. So I know for a fact that I wouldn't be here if I didn't have her. And I know for a fact that I would have probably taken my own life. I came very close several times because the loss was so deep and the pain was so intense, and I didn't see a way out. And even having her was almost not enough to keep me from losing it completely. I felt several times like I might end up in a mental institution because I was so crazy. That was such a place of loss and that no one could understand, really. And I was angry at the world and God and everyone around me, and angry at my situation. And even as we started to kind of move forward from that, I was still angry. And I would put on clothes that didn't fit and I'd be angry about that. Like if we had somewhere to go, I'd be excited to get out of the house, and then I'd be so miserable leading up to leaving the house that I didn't even want to go anywhere. So all I did was want to just like cocoon myself and hide in this like little safe place that involved nothing but me and my kid and going to work and coming home. And I couldn't even involve my husband in that at that point because he wasn't in a good place either. And I had been trying to pull us all together, and I finally it was kind of like trying to save a drowning person, and it's to save yourself first. And I kind of had to just like push the drowning person off me and say, I've got to swim for shore. And so I can only carry my child with me. So we're going for shore. So I should bring Kleenex. Oh, I have Kleenex. Sorry. So there was a girl at work who was doing Insanity, and I just decided that like I would ask her if I could borrow it when she was done. And so I started deciding all these things I was going to do that I could at least take charge of how I felt about myself physically. If I couldn't change anything else, at least I could not hate getting dressed in the morning, or at least I could not hate the way I felt if I had to go out in public, or if we had to go to something for Daryl's work, I wouldn't have to hate being miserable. And we invite people over for the kid's birthday party and have a barbecue in the backyard. And I'm like the only one not eating because I don't want everyone to stare at me and think, oh, that's why she looks like that. You know, look at, she's eating a cheeseburger. Even though everyone's eating cheeseburgers, I would feel like everyone would look at me that way. And so it's kind of funny because now I'm the person who will like slap someone's hand and say, don't touch my cheeseburger. That's mine. But before I'd be like, God, I don't want anyone to see me eat a cheeseburger. But, so anyway, my friend Mia, she said that I could borrow them. And then one day she dropped them off in my mailbox, and, I made a plan to start it on Monday, and that was a couple days away. And then like 2 days later, I realized I was late, and I realized I was pregnant again. And it was like the biggest, scariest thing in the world, and the biggest blessing at the same time. It's definitely the most terrifying 9 or 10 months of my life, because I was always afraid it wasn't going to work out again. And I was terrified for that. So my screen's frozen, so I hope it's not frozen for you guys, but I'll just keep talking and hope it's still recording. Okay.
I got your voice. Your face is frozen.
All right, I'll be frozen. Let it go. Let it go. So anyway, then I found out, so I gave her the DVDs back because she wanted them back. And then I was like, damn it, I'm not going to have these later. We literally had no money for anything. No extra anything. I would be like, we would be pooling our cash and going to the Coinstar in the grocery store to cash it in for gas to get to work the day before payday. I would be returning something I bought at the grocery store, even though it was food, just to make sure. I would be checking the bank balance on the phone, because this was like pre-apps, like making sure I could afford the $24 with coupons and groceries I had. So I was borrowing insanity, and I went and I created a free account just to like be able to track my progress and hold myself accountable. That's after I had Elijah, obviously. So when I had Elijah, then I asked her, okay, I'm ready. And I was supposed to wait 6 weeks to start. And 4 weeks, I was like, that's it. I'm starting Monday. I'm done. And so I went for it, and I created, and don't do that. Check with your doctor. Listen to them. I don't listen well. So I listened to me really well. So I went and I created that free account, and that's when I got assigned to Tanya. And that's when I got, shortly after that, probably my first email that I know you've all heard me say that I was like, yeah, I'm not talking to this lady. And I started buying like cheap Costco protein shakes. But even those I didn't always buy. Sometimes I would go shopping at what I call my parents' grocery store, and I would go to their house, and I would go to their big cabinet that they had where they would buy Costco stuff, and I would take 2 rolls of paper towels and 4 rolls of toilet paper and however many protein shakes I thought I could take without my mom getting mad or noticing, and cans of green beans and cans of corn, because my dad has like a bulk buying problem. And that's how I like feed my family, and we'd get by. And I told Daryl I was never going to talk to this lady again, because I knew that she, like, first of all, I called her a stalker several times after she sent me more than one message. And I also knew that she would probably promote their shake, because I see the infomercials on the DVDs and, you know, the little commercials, and I had no interest in that. But what I did have was like this fundamental, like, little seed planted inside me that thought that I could do this because of those infomercials that were on TV. There's something about Shanti speaking to the television and telling me to dig deeper and saying you could do this gives me chills. Even just saying it just now, I got a little shiver, because I can remember like looking at that and going, oh, there's no way I can't do that. And I would, but in my head, this little voice would be like, you can do that. So I borrowed those, and I made that free account, and I put in all my numbers and my 254 pounds and my, all my measurements for everything, and my heart rate, and my, you know, my thighs, and my this and that, and my body fat. And I went to the YMCA and got a tour and let them put me on their body fat measuring thing and their scale, so that I could figure out that I was over 60% body fat, which is kind of, it was like 57% or something, which means that over half my body was fat. And if I was 250 pounds, that means I had like 100 and some odd 20 pounds of fat on me, which is crazy. You see those, like, you know, you see people with that situation, and you think, well, they must be someone who sits around or does nothing or whatever. But I was just talking to my coach, Jackie, tonight. She was over visiting just before this call. And I was talking about how I used to look at my like step tracker after a shift, and I remember always saying like, oh, I walked Bloomsday tonight during work, which is a race here in Spokane that's 8 miles long. I would put on 8 miles in a shift, easy, all the time. I was not sedentary. I worked my tail off, but I was big. I wasn't eating right, and I wasn't taking care of myself with like intentional exercise, I guess. So I completed Insanity. And I mean, even the fit test made me feel like I was going to die and have a heart attack and lying on the floor. And I still can remember and picture the scene in my head to this day where Daryl like had the nerve to walk in the living room and I was like, get out of here. Like my head spun around and like, you know, exorcist, get out. I did not, I mean, things were flopping and body fluids and I just didn't want any witnesses. I just like, get out. And and that was the 20-minute fit test, you know? And then the first workout was like 47 minutes the next day. And I had no intentions of doing it at all by the time I finished the fit test. He said, if you cannot complete the fit test, you are not qualified to do this program. And I was not qualified to do that program by any means whatsoever. And then the next morning I got up and I took Olivia to preschool and I came home and I put Elijah on his little blankie on the floor and in the swing next to me and wherever he had to be, sometimes on the couch with pillows around him. And I would not face the TV. I would face him and I would do these stupid jumps and be like, I couldn't jump, but I would modify him and I would do whatever I could just to get through that time. I would feed him. And as soon as I fed him, I would push play on that workout. So decompress a little bit and then I would just do the workout. And then as soon as it was over, I would be guzzling water and he'd be ready to eat again. And I was like barely surviving. And I made it somehow to the end of that first week. And one thing I always to this day encourage my challengers to do is X off the calendar, because I swear to you, printing that stupid calendar and Xing that off was the first feeling of accomplishment that I had had in a long ass time. Like seeing those X's. And I didn't use a little check mark in the corner. I mean, I Sharpie that box left to right and I was proud of it. And then I turned out 1 week into 2 and into 3 and into 4. And that program is 60 days long. And when I finished it, I lost 35 pounds. And then I got another message from Tanya. And I think by then she had probably found me on social media or something. I actually posted my picture and I wasn't a coach and I hadn't talked to her at that point. And I posted it and it said, this took all the balls in the world I had to post. That was all I typed. And I put the one picture from the waist up, the day 1 and day 60. And I got so many encouraging messages. And I actually posted a sweaty selfie, the first workout, and not even got one comment and one like. And it's still on my page to this day with not one like and not one comment. Like, I don't think anyone had anything to say. And when I see like the on this day thing come back and it shows you things you used to say, nothing I said was positive ever. And I still have crap going on. I can promise you right now, I have lots of crap going on. Yesterday was an exercise in how loud can I scream at my whole family for no reason. Like things happen and stress happens and life happens and everything's not, unicorn farts and rainbow glitter, but it's perspective and it's tools to deal with it. And all of that, I promise you, came from this journey. So after I finished that, I already knew I wanted to do T25 because I knew I went back to work at like a few weeks left in Insanity. I went back to work and I could barely get those in because they're longer in the second half. They're up to 60 minutes a day and I fit them in and I was back at work full time. So I knew I wanted to do T25. I had seen the infomercials for that and I put it on my Christmas list and my mom bought it for me off Amazon. Thanks, Mom. And I got that for Christmas and still Tanya reached out to me. And I was like, I think I told her I wanted T25 and she sent me some information and the links. And then I was like, yeah, I already got it from my mama. So I'm going to start on the first of the year. And I'm sure now that I know as a coach, she's probably like, wah, wah, wah. But at the time, like, I was like, you say you want to help me for nothing. Let's see, So, but I didn't really hadn't really used her for help too much. She answered my questions here and there. And then by the end of that program, that's where I knew. And even then I knew that I had to finish one program and start something else. I had to have a plan of what was coming next. I couldn't have a big gap of time where I was going to let myself go down off the wayside. I knew I had a few weeks left to T25 and I had to do something. And that is when I finally messaged her back and said, okay, let's talk. What do you think I should do next? Here's where I'm at, this and that. And I gave her the opportunity to help me. And, she did give me information on Shakeology, and I did tell her that I wasn't interested and that I was drinking those, and she did give me a menu plan to follow, like a clean eating sample menu, and she said, it's fine if you're not using Shakeology. If you ever want to know more about it, I will tell you, but anyway, just go ahead and keep using the protein shakes you're doing and just substitute them on the menu wherever it says Shakeology. And if you don't want to do that, do like a 100 to 200 calorie snack in this spot. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Like, she didn't say like, well, you're going to get fat and you can't lose weight because you're not drinking my magic shake, which is what I was expecting. So I think that that's the best training I had as far as how to deal with leads, because better than anything I ever got in the office or in each training group or Coach Basics, because I was that lead and I was that person who really didn't know, was really apprehensive about being sold to and being pushed. I don't like being pushed I'm the person who likes to know why, and then I'll do it because it's why, not because you told me I have to or else, because I know why. So until I was ready to see the value of that over what I was doing, I wasn't going to be motivated to do what she said. So luckily for her and for me, both, she wasn't pushy with that. And she recommended that I buy a challenge pack, and I did. And I put the date to cancel it on my calendar. And I think actually she recommended I do Chalene Extreme, and I ended up buying P90X3. And it's funny because Chalene Extreme ended up becoming one of my favorite programs later, but I went with what was on sale. And that was P90X3. So I did do that, and I did not fall in love with Tony Horton, but I did fall in love with the challenge group and the process. And I just continued to work my way through it, even though I was so sick of his Bermuda shorts and his bad jokes and his this and that, which I've now had the opportunity to talk to him about in person like 5 times, which is kind of crazy. And I've told him, like, I hated you. But, like at the time, he just wasn't speaking to me, and I was a Shanti girl all the way. And I thought the cardio, I needed more cardio, but it did give me a foundation using weights. I didn't lose any weight on that program, which was also my first important lesson in that area. What I did was I got the best arms and back of my life. Up until that point. Now I'd say they're pretty good too. But at that point, like, I was like, wow, my back is strong. Wow, my arms are strong. And I didn't know I could do this or look like this. I could do a pull-up by the end of that program. And I'd never done a pull-up. Even in elementary school, they put you through that torture device exercise that's supposed to tell you if you have a soul or if you're going to hell, because that's what it felt like to me. Can you do a pull-up? I was like nailing the sit and reach like nobody's business. Like no one could touch their toes like me, but but I was failing hard in the mile run department, and I was nothing's changed much there. Not winning any races anytime soon. But the body composition, I remember there was a sit-up test and there was a pull-up test and a chin-up and a this and a that. And they had these graphs, and they had little stars, asterisks filling this graph, and it was a bar graph. I have them in my baby book. I should pull them out sometime, because it basically they send it home with you as a child and tell you what kind of shape you're in and what kind of future you're going to have, all based on this Call Me Now, Miss Cleo reading they do off this one random test this one day that tells you if you're going to be a cow or not, and if you deserve to be on a varsity sport or not. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And if I can see those things eliminated before I die, I will die a happy woman, because they really put a lot of judgment on you and what you're capable of, just like many academic tests and things do also. And I ace academic tests every time, but I still am not a fan of them and the pressure they put on kids, probably because of this physical fitness test. And anyway, I would have the top marks for these, for being able to run a mile I always hit the like 7.5 minute requirement. I did do cross country. I just didn't like do 5-minute miles, but I was still, at least I was finishing. And I would have the high sit and reach, and I would be able to do the most sit-ups of any of the girls in the class even then. And my body composition one that told me was at the bottom. There was like no stars, and the whole graph was empty. And because they didn't like my height to weight ratio. And my height to weight ratio now still puts me in borderline obese, and I guarantee you I'm not. But to be told at 7 or 8 or 9 years old as a girl that you are, that is really devastating. And so part of my mission now is to make sure that my daughter has a foundation in fitness and confidence and self-belief and daily healthy living that all came from this journey that I've been on. So since P90X3 finished, then I went in and I did Chalene Extreme, I think I did for a couple weeks. And I think that's the only program I didn't finish. I ended up moving on to may have been 21 Day Fix at that point, and did a round of that in July. And then I entered my results, and that's when I won the Beachbody Challenge award for a day. And I, of course, nominated my coach so she could win a prize too. And then I won for the month of July. And then I moved on and I've just pretty much knocked them out one at a time, start to finish, every program since then. And so when I was getting ready for the finals in Nashville, and knowing whether I'd be a competitor for the yearly challenge, and the quarterly results were up. It was all at the same time. I ended up doing Chalene Extreme at that point and getting great results and finishing it based on the recommendation of Tanya and Jesse. And I did get great results from that. So that was pretty incredible little journey. And I ended up in that first year, in the first 9 months, I'd say I lost probably 75 to 80 pounds. And that was in 9 months. And people always ask me how long it took to lose the weight. That was it. And then the next year, maybe 10 pounds, or so. And it pretty much just stayed there at 90 pounds for like the next year. But my body has changed shape and changed composition based on what programs I've done. So when I finished Insanity, I had the best abs ever. And then I will do, like I said, I did the original P90X, which was kind of a cool thing to achieve because A, I wasn't thrilled with P90X3 and that was shorter. And B, that's the original Beachbody workout, the first infomercial you saw where it's like, this is extreme home fitness. We're going to do things you've never done in your house. And I remember seeing those infomercials when they came out and thinking those people were crackpots. And then I did that program so that was cool. And then getting ready for the Beachbody Classic last year, I did Body Beast. I've done Size. Size I haven't done start to finish. I've sprinkled it in with my challenge group because I was already in the middle of another program. And I do not drop a program I'm doing just because something new comes out. I always finish what I'm doing. And so I will throw in, it's cardio day, and I have Sunday, it's my day off. I will do a Size workout or record it. I will broadcast it and say, this was a nice break from my Body Beast today to get my cardio in with Sean T, like my group, and do my Size with my challengers. And here's what it looks like. And I'll post about it. I'll do a clip of my daughter doing it. But all the while, I make sure everyone knows I'm staying on track with what I said I was doing all along, even if I venture into other things. And so like fast forward to now, I'm getting ready for a competition. And I just posted about it today a little bit where I haven't really said for sure I was doing it. But I did post about it today and kind of plant the seed and start telling that story because this is what it is. Your story is you. You are selling yourself, and your consistency speaks to what kind of coach you'll be. And I met with several gym owners and trainers over the last 6 months, even actually starting when I was getting ready for the Classic. Lots of people had professional training for that. And I was considering that. I was talking to people. I went and visited some gyms. I even paid $100 for a health plan, a meal plan from a gym that I was considering going to that I had a couple friends who use. And I'll tell you, chicken breast, broccoli, and a couple Quest bars is no meal plan of mine. So that didn't work for me. And why I'm going with Chrome now is because I told her, and she said, oh, you're one of those people that has that shake thing, or you do this like an Herbalife or this or an Isogenics. And I'm like, no. I'm not one of those people. I'm this person. I believe in what I do. And I know that everything in this shake is healthy. And if there's any point where I can't have 17 grams of carbohydrates in a day, then something's wrong with your meal plan. And until I hit the cutting stage, then I'll be willing to give it up for that last couple of weeks. But before that, I don't think there's anything in this shake that will prevent me from seeing the results that you say you can get me. And I like that they do clean eating and real food because it works with what I'm doing. So I'm still able to live my truth and coach my people and do that at the same time. So it's important to me. And I think that goes back into all of our stories. You have to be authentically doing what you say you're doing, and you have to just share from that place of reality. So where's your story start and where is it now? I'm not going to continuously lose that 100 pounds and regain it over and over again. But that doesn't mean that my opportunity to inspire people is over. It just means that my way in which I tell my story broadens, and that the voice I have has grown, just like every part of my journey. And if you're not setting new goals for yourself, or if you've been doing Country Heat for 4 months and you're just dancing and you're not seeing any progression, you need to find something that challenges you and do that to start to finish. You need to create a story that scares you. You need to start pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. And if your comfort zone is doing T25, I could still be doing T25, but I guarantee you I wouldn't have had the personal growth I have now had I not been challenging myself in these workouts all along the way. So I think that every single part of this journey, all the way down to the coaching side of things, and helping supplement our income and helping us get into our home, and helping me be able to give more in a way that I couldn't before. Those things are important to me, and the community and the team and the friendships, those are important to me. You wouldn't think that it would be something so tangible and so real. I definitely never thought that I would meet this lady in person. I never thought that I would go on retreats with people. I never thought I would leave the country. I gave up that traveling dream when I had my kids because it hadn't happened yet. And I knew it certainly wasn't going to happen once you have kids and you're broker and busier and all that. And I kind of just thought that would be something that happened in 18 to 20 years once I got my kids to college. Maybe by then we'd make enough money and we'd have the opportunity to travel. And instead, I've gone more places in the last 2 years than I've gone in my entire life. I'm going to Belize in a month. I better get my act together. So, and I'm taking a coach on my team with me. And that's cool. And then 3 months after that, I'm going to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, and I'm taking my husband. And I don't know who's watching my kids yet, so if anyone wants to volunteer, but I'll figure that out later. But I've got the time off work, and I've worked my tail off for it, and I bought plane tickets, and that's half the battle. But these are the opportunities that, that have come from just this little thing that was trying to not be so depressed and trying to feel a little better. So I challenge you, if you're struggling with finding your story or knowing what you should do next, to really take a look at yourself and what you're afraid of or what you haven't done, to push yourself and to do that, because it's not easy, but the sweat is what makes the steel, and the challenges, like I talked about in the beginning, that break you, sometimes put back together can be more beautiful than the original thing you started with. So I guess that's all I have.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. It's, I've heard your story many times, but I always take away, it always makes me cry.
It makes me cry too.
I know, especially since I met your family. And I remember when I met Olivia the first time, and she walked up and she was standing right behind me at the airport with me. And I was like, wait, it was so awesome.
She knows who you are from seeing you on calls, so it's funny. She's like, that's Tanya. I remember her being just tripped out that you had little blonde girls like her next to you, because you're this floating head on these calls, right? But she didn't know you came with kids. And really stoked, like there's an appendix to this family.
I know, and they all look like they could be related. All these little blonde, blue-eyed children.
See, that's what I'm just gonna put them wherever you put your kids for the trip. They'll blend right in.
I know. I don't know where I'm putting mine either. I'm like, well, we'll figure it out.
I don't even know where
they're not coming.
How are we supposed to go on this? I'm like, well, I'll figure it out. Just know that.
This is awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Amanda? Anybody? Now is your time regarding her journey, her business, anything. She definitely is an open book, you guys. She'll share. So if you have a question, just ask her.
Too much sharing. And most of the people who are on here have heard it before. There's only one number that I don't know on the list. I don't know who's the 630, but Melissa, I know, knows it. She's one of my coaches. And then obviously Kelly and Sarah and Brandy have been on calls before. But
Amanda, I have a question. How do you hit your Success Club 10? Like, what's your consistency that you do? I know everybody probably asks you that, but I heard you say something. I think it was you. You said something the other day that you don't mass invite. Is that right? Was that you that said that? Yeah. Okay. So spill it, sister.
So I don't, I always, you'll notice, like, I pretty much chime in on everything. But when it comes to like the share your invites and telling you, like, here's the challenge. After you do this, check in that you did it and share your invite below. And I'm like, I did it. But I don't. So what I do is I usually do, like, I would say probably 3 to 4 posts a month that are invites in a way, where I put like that call to action at the end. But generally I start the day before the month ends. I don't, I guess, really pay attention to this too much. It just feels organic to me. I know the next month is coming. I want to start those conversations. It's been a while since I posted about the last one. And so for this month, I haven't really done a big one other than I did one on the 30th of last month to kind of prep. I don't have a lot of time. I'm very busy, but I do feel like I plant seeds all month long. I very much am a proponent of the jab, 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 right hook. I feel like I've done a call on that in social media that are both in the group files that are pretty thorough. And I think that if you're sharing your story consistently, you're consistently building that trust, then you get to a place where you can do that. Now, that being said, I mean, I've done that. But last December, I know for a fact that I hit Success Club on the 30th or 31st. And I remember like only having 2 points and never wanting to go through that again and just barely getting through it with people deciding to go in for the New Year's thing, but being very terrified that I wouldn't make it. And like to the point of like, who can I call and bribe to buy a stinking challenge pack? Like, who can I give money to? And I call my mom. Like, I don't know what to do. Like that kind of scared. Because it was such a huge goal initially. And the reason it, Success Club All-Star or All-Star Legend has been an important goal of mine is because it shows the consistency, just like completing the programs does. So I really think that being consistent in posting the value without asking for anything in return makes my posts when I do ask for something in return more valuable. And it can be maybe scary to not constantly be inviting people to things. But it does start a lot of conversations. And I will see who responded to those, and then I will reach out to them and maybe do follow-up messaging, or they'll send me a message. A lot of people will send me a message to talk that don't even comment on the post. So I can get a 300-like post and not have anybody bite for my challenge group. That I didn't get anyone asking me to buy a challenge pack from that post I did the other day. That was an actual invite post. But I did get a lot of information on who's following me now that liked it, that I didn't know was following me. And I will start interacting with those people's pages more. I do know who is maybe, I'm still always adding new people, like it says to do, always trying to add new people and broaden my market and trying to like friend request people that if I see someone or something like in a mom's group and someone commented on something and they wanted a healthy eating recipe, and then I click on her page and I see she has, or she, there's sometimes a thread that's like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of feeling this way. Then my Fitbit's yelling at me, get up and walk. Like I have a problem moving. It just drives me nuts that it does that. Get up and move. You've sat still for 40 minutes. I'm not worried about it, I promise. But yeah, I just like really focus on the value, like adding recipes, sharing just little tidbits, trying to be positive. I'll go live. It's usually like something about inspirational and I feel like moved to do so. I just share my journey and the struggles and what I'm working on. And then when I do invite, I feel like I have more qualified leads, I guess, to reach out to. And I can talk to 20 and get 15. because, I can only do what I have time to do. So I will talk to the people who send me messages off of that, and I'm full. Like I didn't send any last month that didn't comment on my posts. I followed up with those people. So, I really think it just comes from that and being consistent. And it wasn't that way in the beginning by any means. It's just from being consistent. Like, there are many coaches on this team that outrank me or that have been coaches longer that will tell you, Vanessa, I believe, and Misty, Sarah, Bob, they've all talked about how they've had periods where they've been like, I can't do this, Shelly, or they took time off, or they took a few months and they didn't know if this was for them. I've never done that. Never once. I've never so much as taken a weekend off where I didn't feel like it, or I don't have anything nice to say, so I'm not going to say anything at all. I can always find something. I can take a picture of a flower and tell you how it inspires me in some way. I can talk about how I'm not having a good weekend and just be honest about it. The struggle is real and people relate to that. But I think the more real you are and the more consistent you are, most messages that I get aren't from people that say, I want to look like you. I have 100 pounds to lose and you've lost 100 pounds and that's inspiring. Most messages I get say, thank you for keeping it so real. Honest to God, 90% of them say that. Thank you for sharing what really works. Thank you for sharing your journey. It inspires me. Even people who don't end up using me as a coach, who go to a gym or something, will send me a message saying that I inspired them to get up and get moving because they saw that I never gave up and that whatever. People will send me things and saying, girl, you're rocking it. One of these days I'm going to, I'll be like, okay, I'll be here. And I mean it because I know I will be. So, and I think they know that. And that's why when I say something like about what brand of product I'm using for something, people will ask me where I got it and they'll go buy it because they believe me, because they know I'm being honest with them. I'm not like telling them, like, I'm not getting anything out of telling them to go buy this spiralizer because I get a commission off it. I'm telling them because I think it makes great noodles and my kids eat it and it's good for us and it was a good deal and here's where I found it. So, people like that when you offer value and you have integrity and you tell your story. So I just, yeah, it's nice, but December is hard for everyone. It's going to be hard for me too. I don't like to go to the, whatever the date is, I don't even know, whatever the date is now, and not have Success Club 10 locked in the bag. I like to, it's the 5th. I'd like to have it by the 10th to be comfortable. And I'm not there yet. And now I know that it's Monday is my day off, and I won't invite again until next weekend. So I usually do any of those follow-up messages on my 2 days off when I have time. And then I spend the week just kind of cultivating those conversations and responding with those people and focusing on my value. If it's making someone laugh, if it's telling a funny story about my kids, that's the point. People will say, that's so funny, you made me laugh out loud, or I could totally picture that craziness. That makes me feel good because that made somebody smile that day. Or people will say that I don't even coach, and they'll say, thank you for this today. I needed to hear this. And I'm like, that warms my heart. So I'm helping people in some way. And then I just kind of hope that when they're ready, they'll think of me because I've been present. Does that make sense? Anything else? I just think the more consistent you can be and the more value you can offer, that jab, 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 then you will be able to do that right hook that at least gets you SC5. You're going to get 2 or 3 people who are going to say, hey, what about? Or, hey, tell me more. Or, okay, I'm finally ready. But the people who say that, I know many people will tell you that it's not the people you talked to this month, it's the people you talked to last month. It's very true. The people who sign up with me this month aren't going to be the friends I add this month. They're going to be the friends I added 3 or 4 months ago because now they've seen me long enough to know that I'm really doing what I'm saying. They're not going to accept my friend request and go, well, hot dog, I found myself a Beachbody coach. Finally, I've been looking everywhere for one of those. That's not how it works. It's like, find those anywhere. So
you have to build the trust, and that's what she's conveyed is she's built trust, and she shares her journey and is consistent, and that's what people are looking for. They're not looking for you all see these people that join Beachbody, or they'll join LuLaRoe or Sensei or whatever, or that new lip sense thing, or that everybody's joining. I mean, whatever it is. And then like, then they drop off. They're like, woo, post, 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 post. And then, boop, gonna start something new. Post, 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 post. I mean, it's seriously, have you guys seen those people? Yeah. And that's what people are looking for. They want someone that's going to stay. And that's why you've got to be consistent in this business.
I've done 50 invite go for no challenges with the team and gotten 50 no's. I have. But some of those no's did turn into yeses later, because 6 months later they saw I was still doing it. Mm-hmm. And I also get people who come sign up with me who had a coach who just like, oh, so-and-so signed me up and then disappeared and she doesn't even do it anymore. And like legit doesn't do it anymore, and they really have no coach. And I will say, yes, you can switch to me. And yes, you can do my fix group. And yes, you already bought the fix, and that's okay. Because I borrowed my first one. And yes, I'll help you. And yes, it kind of stinks and you do put work into those people. But then, sometimes they end up, sticking with you because they see that you do the same thing in the group, that you're showing up every day, and that you're, I feel like I used to put a lot more time into my groups, and now, oh shit, I still put a lot of time into them. Who am I kidding? But, I put time and heart and whatever into them. And I try and think, will this keep me going? Would this motivate me? Would this, I know that I have to show up first and foremost, no matter what. Even if it's just like the post of the day, I better show my ass up, because that's what I'm saying I'm doing. And I think that's the number one thing you can do. And, there might have been periods of time where if you want to check in and prove to people you're doing it every day, then pick a program and finish it and post throughout the program. And I've done that. Like I've shared before, I did in Max 30 and I didn't have results that I loved, but I still shared it. And I did have mental results from being able to do things that I didn't think I could do. But I didn't like throw it in the handbasket and the wastebasket and say, well, that was a waste of 60 days. I don't have any results to show for it. I had results to show for it. They were mental and stamina and like overcoming obstacles, but they were my results. So do it even when you don't feel like it, I guess.
I agree. It's what I've done for be 5 years at the end of this month, and every day. Well, we do take some days off for vacation.
I'm doing quarter force right now, and it's going to take me 40 days to finish 30. It's life.
It happens. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress and doing what you can. And that's, you guys know that, that's what all of the leadership on this team and what I preach is that just show up and be consistent. And if you didn't read that thing that I posted about Danny Johnson today in Team 360, I would suggest going and reading it, because it was a lot of what Amanda's talked about, being committed. If you're not committed in this, you're not committed in other areas of your life, you need to make a choice. But I know for a fact that you guys on this phone, all of you guys are pretty committed, because you guys all show up to everything and I love it. So I want to thank you, Amanda, for sharing your heart and everything tonight. I know it's, I know you've got a crazy schedule, and this is your family time, and I appreciate you taking that time to spend with us, because I think, I admire you and what you've done and what you've done for your family, and seeing that picture of you post up with your, even though you weren't happy with the way your family photo turned out, the one you did with you and Daryl and the kids, like just to see the light behind your guys' eyes, and the kids are so stinking happy, and you can see that. And
second round, just wait till you see the new ones. They're so good.
I just want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for being, for all you've done, and congratulations on your success, because just even you guys looking at the picture, even if you didn't take the picture in the bikini, which is awesome. And like, if you looked at her picture today and saw those flipping amazing abs, even if you just took her before and the next one right next to it, that's amazing. And then you look at the next one and the next one. And then, it's incredible. But that, she stayed with it. So Congratulations. And I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. And I hope you all have an incredible week. And make sure I'll have this recording up here in just a few, and make sure you share it with your teams. All right. Hi guys. How are you?
I'm 3.
You are 3. It's hard to believe. Hi, Olivia.
They
You're so cute. All right. Enjoy your family. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Daryl's waiting for his gift in the mail.
Oh. Bye.
Bye.